I don't know if you heard the collective screams of the dozen or so fans of She-Hulk Attorney at Law when it was announced that Daredevil Born Again will not be referencing Matt Murdock's appearance in that Disney Plus series.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. That's right. She-Hulk Attorney at Law got a kind of bad break when the showrunners for Daredevil Born Again announced that the TV show will not be referencing Charlie Cox's guest appearance on the show. I believe he has two. One was a guest appearance and a sort of a crossover episode with She-Hulk where Matt Murdock totally owns Jennifer Walters in court. And then they, of course, have a one night stand because this is present day Disney. And for some reason, Daredevil does a walk of shame. How is that not ableist? So She Hulk and Daredevil have a fling, and then she makes a blind man do the walk of shame without his shoes on. That was really bizarre. Disney loves to humiliate their beloved heroes that have wide fan bases. I don't know why that's the case. Nonetheless, we don't have to worry about it anymore because it will not be referred to at all in Daredevil Born Again. This is according to That Park Place. Daredevil Born Again showrunner Dario Scardapane, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, please let me know in the comments if I am not, has officially confirmed what many fans hope to hear. Daredevil's controversial appearance in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, including his much maligned walk of shame and one night stand with Jennifer Walters, will be ignored in the Disney Plus revival. The revelation came during an interview with SFX Magazine, aligns with what appears to be a broader effort by Marvel to directly distance itself from the She-Hulk debacle. The showrunner stated that while Daredevil's past MCU appearances are technically canon, his approach to Born Again allows for selective acknowledgement of those events. You can say that Daredevil is canon in the MCU. Those other events happened, but some of them were not leaning into, he explained, adding his one night stand with She-Hulk may be one of those things. For fans who are outraged by She-Hulk's comedic portrayal of Daredevil, this is a step in the right direction. Marvel's decision to sideline She-Hulk appears to go beyond Daredevil Born Again. Actress Tatiana Maslany, who starred as the character, has admitted that a second season of She-Hulk is unlikely. Additionally, Disney Plus removed the series from its prominent Marvel banner in November 2024, replacing She-Hulk with Deadpool. While Disney has not officially commented on the decision, the move speaks volumes about the company's desire to quietly sweep She-Hulk under the rug. And that's not the whole article on That Park Place. I want you to go to thatparkplace.com and I want you to read it and all of their other articles. They cover Disney, Universal, pretty much any film company that also has a theme park, plus a lot more. I think this is the correct move for the showrunners of Daredevil Born Again. That shows She-Hulk. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't watch all the episodes because I tried to watch the pilot and I couldn't do it. I actually removed it from my Disney Plus history. That's how bad it was. Now, I did go back and watch the Daredevil episode because I really like Charlie Cox's portrayal of Matt Murdock in the Netflix show Spider-Man No Way Home, and of course, just in general. But then She-Hulk Attorney at Law made me worried that Daredevil Born Again was going to be a disaster because it had been announced at that point, and I was like, oh, cool, they're bringing him back. I'm sure this is going to be a super serious episode with some light jabs, but instead they made light of Daredevil, and like I said, kind of have this ableist scene where She-Hulk makes him do the walk of shame barefoot. That was so stupid. And in costume. Why wasn't he dressed as Matt Murdock? That was really weird. It's supposed to be a comedy, Jacob. Well, it wasn't funny. Anyway, I'm very excited to hear this. Personally, I find any connection to She-Hulk to be atrocious. I also think it's kind of funny because Maslany, she was one of the actors who joined in the Film Actors Guild strike and just threw all kinds of complaints at Bob Iger's way. She called Disney all kinds of names, and that's fine for a guy like me because Disney's never going to hire me to write a Star Wars or Marvel film, even though I would be way better at it than the current crop they have. But for her, who has a contract with them to star as one of their next gen MCU heroes, right? She was going to be part of the new Avengers team. I think that's kind of hilarious. What they should do, if Marvel was smart, was try to get Gina Carano back and make her the new She-Hulk. But of course, that's not going to happen, right? I digress on that as well. I like digressing a lot. Digress. I think it's going to be really interesting to see this course correction done by Kevin Feige. They, of course, famously fired Victoria Alessandro. She was the one who was real big at pushing, let's replace the white straight males with women, preferably women of color, preferably lesbians for some reason. And let's make them lame, right? That was her big thing. We're not going to just make them cool female characters like they are in the comic books. We have to push this feminist agenda, or Hollywood's version of the feminist agenda, to make it. Now, she's been fired from her post, so hopefully Kevin Feige will course correct everything. I don't know for sure. They seem to be learning the wrong lessons from the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. So who's to know, really? I would love to see, the X-Men or Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four's coming out soon. I would love to see them work out. I would love to see them in the context of the MCU, but it hasn't been the same since the Infinity Saga ended, and they really need to try to bring it back. Marvel Studios and Disney has got to course correct and stop relying so much on Disney Plus to tell the MCU's stories. If they were smart, what they would do is take these street level characters like Daredevil and put them on Disney Plus, where they don't really impact the canon a whole lot, and then you just use the Avengers. Just do team-based films, and occasionally, if the opportunity presents itself, do a solo film. Start doing ensemble films. Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Endgame, all of those sort of ensemble films were fantastic. Let's bring those back together. Let's work them into it. I think that that's what they should do. Even if they wanted to do, say, a Spider-Man movie, bring in more team-ups. I think that's what they should do going forward. That should be the new model. Like I said, similar to Captain America Civil War. They don't all have to be as dark as Captain America Civil War, but just that style of film. I think it would behoove them to do that. But of course, they're not going to do that because Marvel Studios and Disney are stubborn and they haven't learned anything from the past. Now, it does appear that Bob Iger is interested in changing things on his way out the door. He only has this year and I think 2026 left. He was only supposed to stay 2 years when they brought him back, but he's staying longer. And he seems to want to clear out a lot of the dustbin, right? They are starting to make changes. Certain people are getting let go. Certain departments are closing. I heard that the entire writer's room of She-Hulk is just gone, which great. I think that's what should have happened to begin with. And we'll wait and see if this is actually something that's going to pass. But Captain America Brave New World, which I did a video on recently, that's going to really be the test here because apparently it was originally super woke, but they realized, hey, none of these things are working. We have to change it. And so they did massive reshoots. I actually heard a rumor. Now, keep in mind, this is a rumor, but I actually heard that for the rough cut of the film, which they showed to audiences before the reshoots, the test audience actually booed it. Now, like I said, I don't know if that's true. That's just a rumor that I heard. And it's rare that you hear about that. I believe Sylvester Stallone said that when they did First Blood, which is the first Rambo film, he wanted it to end where Rambo lives. Because in the book, the character Rambo dies, he passes away. And in a very brutal way, I might add. So he wanted to change it because he wanted to have like a more hopeful, optimistic ending for the audience he was reaching out to. The director said no, and so he said, well, I refuse to do any press for it. And they showed the cut, the original cut, to test audiences, and he said that they booed, that test audience booed. And so the director calls him back and says, hey buddy, you want to do some reshoots? And then now we have the ending of Rambo that we all know and love. Perhaps that happened with Captain America Brave New World, and we're going to see like shows that weren't, shall we say, beloved, like Agatha All Along, like She-Hulk Attorney at Law, like Echo. They're going to kind of just fade away and they won't be referenced anymore. I think they'll do this with the Eternals. I think they'll do this with Wonder Man, but I don't know. Marvel teases a lot, and they say a lot of things. They pay a lot of lip service, but I just don't trust them to get this right. But if anything, Daredevil Born Again, not referencing She Hulk Attorney at Law, I think that this is a good move. It's a smart move, and it makes me want to watch it even more. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you would be so kind, head on over to my website. It's studiojakemedia.com. I've got even more news, reviews, and commentary on all things pop culture. And best of all, it's free. You just sign up with your email address or on the WordPress app, and you will get all of those articles. I post daily, and best of all, there are no ads on my website. So you get it for free, and there's no ads. Pretty cool, right? If you want to support the work that I do, click on the link to my locals community. It's in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription, or you can send my articles tips. And I post exclusive articles at least monthly. I know I'm a little behind in the new year, but I'm going to try to pick it right back up. So I hope that you will enjoy the stuff that's there now, because I also publish my short stories there. Speaking of stories, I also have 4 published books. I've got Cacophony, A Tale of Faith and Fear. It is about angels and demons going to war over the souls of a small town in Texas. If you're more into sword and sorcery, I have the Seven Royals series. Book 1 is All Good Things. Book 2 is Breaking the Stars. It follows a group of your favorite fairy tale characters who have to come together to stop a dark army from conquering their lands. Book 3 is on its way, and it will complete the trilogy. I will not George R.R. Martin this. I'll have an announcement about it very soon. Last but certainly not least, I have Blessed Child. It is a fantasy romance novella that follows an elf princess who discovers she is pregnant with a human child. This sends the elf kingdom into chaos, so her father, the king of the elves, hires a disgraced knight to be her bodyguard. He is on the path to redemption, and they form an unlikely friendship. It's about courage under fire. It is life affirming, and you can get this one or all 4 at Amazon.com. Pick them up, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.